Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Raeshad from RaeshadBeats.com. Welcome back to another video. Today we got something very special for you. We got another album slash mixtape review, and the artist of the hour for this mixtape review slash album is none other than Elliot. Elliot is a hip-hop artist from Tuskegee, Alabama and Killeen, Texas, who currently resides in Twin Cities, Minnesota. The Prodigal Song is an album all about coming of age and dealing with what coming of age has to offer. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with different people who claim you're your friends and they're not your friends, different females, all these types of things. You know what I'm saying? This album is completely all about the concept of growing up and dealing with the fact that you have no choice but to grow up. So let's jump right into the track list because I definitely want to start breaking down some of these tracks. So let's get it. What makes this intro so spectacular is the fact that it has this beautiful intro to the movie Baby Boy, in which talking about how the black man is considered to be the baby and how he's considered to be a person who doesn't know who he truly is and understand his full potential, you know what I'm saying, because of the uses of racism and just the systematic oppression, you know what I mean? But it also gives you the idea, and that's one of the best things about this intro, is that it already tells you exactly what you're going to be in for. You're going to be in for a lot of situations where you have to put yourself in Elliot's shoes as a black boy in America. You know what I mean? Coming of age. A black boy in America who's aging and still trying to figure out if he's a kid or not. You know what I mean? So it comes down to that. Let's get into the instrumental of this track. So the instrumental of this track is so beautiful. As it comes in, you start to realize that it's chopping a sample of the skit, where it actually starts to bring in the instruments in the beginning, and then you can see that whoever made the beat chopped that part, looped it, and he kept it going, and then he threw some dope drums on it, and then that's how the track starts off with just the loop coming, like boom, 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 and then it drops that with the beat, and then you just vibing out to the beat. The beat is very jazzy, boom bappy, very smoky, and then you start to hear Elliot's flow, and you start to hear his vocals. Now, this is where you get introduced to Elliot's rap style. His rap style is very different and very unique. His flow is one of the biggest things that make him unique. I feel like he can switch and have an offset flow. He has like this offset flow that makes it seem like it's off beat or off tempo, but really it's on beat, and it still hits hard. And for a beat like this on sunny days, it makes sense to use that to kind of add that variety. But the entire track's pretty much just based off of seeing better days and understanding that, you know, better days are coming, and he misses the sunny days and he just wants to go back to those sunny days. So yeah, that track is definitely one of my favorites because it introduces Elliot and his world, and the world that you gotta put yourself in so you can feel what's really going on, you can pay attention. As you get further down this track list, you start to realize that the concept starts getting more focused on Elliot as a whole, as a person. The entire project is about Elliot, you know what I mean? This is about Elliot, this is about the things that he go through. He doesn't necessarily tell you straight up. He tells you in different skits, in different parts of the movie Baby Boy, to let you know how his life is somewhat like that, how it compares and contrasts with just different scenes and different things that happened in that movie that he compared to his life. So when you get to track number 2, which is New Days, and this is one of my least favorite projects because I feel like it didn't do much to me as the listener. I didn't really enjoy it as much as I did the first track. It was pretty much based off of Sunny Days. Just it's that same concept, but different type of vibe, different type of beat. I didn't really like it as much because I feel like the beat didn't really do its job to really give me that vibe that I was looking for. Unlike Sunny Days blew me out the water when I first heard it, but he's pretty much talking about just waiting for new days to come, how he's just being patient, you know what I mean? It's just talking about how patient he's got to be for these new days. Now, the thing with New Days, and the reason why I compare it with Sunny Days, is because of the fact that Sunny Days had this super dark and just ominous type of vibe to it that had no choice but to capture your emotions. Not only did the skit give you background information of what you're about to listen on further down this track list, but it also told you what you got to deal with as the listener. You got to deal with just facing the frustration of the artist, the frustration of Elliot, you know what I mean? And that's one of the biggest things that I felt that gave me the inspiration to continue to keep listening. But New Days didn't really give me that type of flow, so it was okay. It was one of my least favorite tracks on that track. I love the flow. I love the cadence on there. I just feel like I didn't like the chorus too much on this one because I feel like it was just like Sunny Days with just a different beat. You know what I mean? It didn't really hit me as hard as Sunny Days, so that's the reason why I didn't like it. But regardless, it's a decent track on that. It's a decent track coming into it. Now, coming down further on this track list, you start to look at different aspects of Elliot as an artist. You start to look at how he's putting himself into the shoes of the people that he deals with, especially on track number 3, Edge of My Bed. Now, I love this track because of the chorus. Definitely one of the best choruses on this entire project, because the chorus is very catchy. She just stand at the edge of my bed. I forgot, it was like something 7. It's like the edge of a ledge. I was like, yo, that's really dope. And the concept of the song is him dealing with the insecurities of a female that he's talking to, that how they exchange sex just to get rid of the insecurities. And it's really something that she deals with more than he does, because he's just, you know, the dude who's just there. But it's like he wants to help, but he doesn't know how to. You know what I'm saying? That's what was telling me in this concept. You know what I'm saying? That's why he said stand at the edge of my bed. But it's like her standing at the edge of the ledge, because she doesn't know if she wants to jump or if she wants to stay. That was a good track, because that one I felt that you could really relate to. Now, one of my favorite tracks on this thing, man, number 4, man, Life is a Gamble. The beat is cold, man. The beat on this one, sample jump with just simple boom bap drums. It's very Texas-like, very Dirty South-like, and you can hear the frustration in Elliot's voice in this track, man. You can hear the frustration. You can hear how frustrated he is dealing with people and dealing with the cards that life dealt him and trying to figure out different ways to go about it. You know what I'm saying? You can hear the stress. And the thing is, with that track, you can feel how he's feeling. You know what I'm saying? You just feel it. Like, his flow was top-notch here, because I feel like the biggest thing that I have a problem with Elliot is his flow sometimes. His flows can be very offset, and it just don't fit the beat because it's all over the place. And it's still on point, it's still on beat, but it doesn't fit that necessary vibe. You know what I mean? It doesn't fit that necessary vibe for that track. So therefore, I can't really enjoy it as much, unlike Sunny Days, because Sunny Days already set a vibe for me to pay attention to. One of the biggest things that I had a problem with Elliot is just him controlling his emphasis as well. His emphasis, he has strong emphasis on his words. His emphasis can be very strong, which also is a part of his technique, because I feel like you feel it a lot more with him bringing more emphasis, obviously. But the biggest thing with me is that it gets to a point where the beat just kind of overshadows the emphasis and it clashes with the beat, so it doesn't sound that good. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound that good on certain tracks. But regardless, you can feel the frustration and you can feel just the soul in Elliot on this track on number 4. This is probably my favorite track out of this entire project. Moving on, tracks like So Hard to Pray and Prodigal Son, which is track 5 and 6. They both have this dreamy and ambience feel to them, which is more likely you'll hear in a beat that Elliot picks, which is more dreamy, ambient, and the drums might be jazzy, boom bap, or trap, or both intertwined. As you hear in So Hard to Pray, you start to realize why Elliot's frustrated. You know what I'm saying? He's dealing with a lot of distractions, dealing with a lot of people that he don't want to deal with. Like, he wants to just smoke a blunt, he wants to just chill. You start to realize why he's so frustrated. He can't do what he would like to. And on Prodigal Son, the reason why I like So Hard to Pray better than Prodigal Son is because Prodigal Son is just, in my opinion, I didn't really enjoy how it was just how it didn't really tie into the concept of the entire project. The project is named Prodigal Son. Usually when people have the names of the titles as a song, their projects, it usually ties it all together, like a big piece to the puzzle of the concept that you're trying to figure out. But in Prodigal Son, it didn't do that for me. I felt like it was just a lot of filler verses, and the beat was dope. Don't get me wrong, the beat was dope. But I didn't enjoy too much of just the aspect of it, because I feel like it wasn't really telling me anything like Sunny Days and the tracks that I mentioned above. It didn't really give me that vibe that I was looking for, as I said before. It's a good way to transition into the next track, which is called Fallback. And Fallback is a cold track. Fallback is on some Dirty South shit. Fallback has this dope trap beat with this sample that's just riffing. You kind of think it's a boom bap in the beginning because of the way the sample being chopped, but it just comes in with this dope chorus like, I watch how these bitches move. It's an addictive song because it's very catchy and anybody can vibe to it. It has this type of flow where you can just drive around listening to it, you know what I mean? That riding music, you know what I mean? And I love that track because it gives me like, and I love that track specifically for that reason. And it has this riding element to it. And it has that Texas, that Dirty South feeling to it. It's part of Elliot's style. And I feel like Elliot's style is a mix between West Coast and Dirty South, you know what I mean? I feel like he has a very West Coast demeanor, in my opinion. Like, I feel like that's one of his biggest things in most of these tracks. Continuing on, number nine, track number 9, I'll Always. The beat in this one is crazy. It's one of my favorite tracks. If it wasn't for number 4, this probably would be my top number track. I'll Always is just a great display of Elliot's technique as a rapper. I felt like I'll Always showed Elliot's real skill out of all the tracks that I heard, because this hard kick drum with these clashing hats, open hats, and this dope sample riding in the background with some leads and some guitars. It was a really dope track. It's one of my favorite tracks because it's the instrumentation is beautiful. His talent as an artist really shows on this because he's really just killing it. His flow, everything is on point. Everything is killing it. He doesn't really does that offset flow like I always talk about, where he's here and he's everywhere. He actually stays focused, which is, I feel like it's kind of hard for him because he doesn't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's not really his style. But for a track like this, I feel like he had no choice but to. I'll Always, the chorus is so dope because he'll just end it with I'll always, and then you'll hear the beat come in with this bridge or this third part of the beat where it's just a guitar riff killing it every time with the sample, and it's so dope. And then you hear him talking underneath it just to kind of fill in that void, you know what I'm saying? So it won't just be the beat playing by itself. Now, I'll Always gives you that vibe of just inspiration. See, now I'll Always gave me even more inspiration to continue to listen and continue to put the pieces together, you know what I mean? When you listen to the track, you start to realize he's just saying he'll always be himself and he'll always give you that good shit. As he always said in his, as he said in the verse, he said, I'm gonna always give you that good shit whether you like it or not. So it was a great track because I felt like I could vibe to it and I enjoyed it a lot just for what it was, you know what I'm saying? And the beat was dumb. The beat was crazy. I can't get over the beat. I keep replaying it. It's definitely one of my favorite tracks. So that's track number 9, which is I'll Always. Now let's talk about the 2 tracks, Tell Me and Let Me Go. Now, Let Me Go, I'm gonna start with Let Me Go, which is track number 12. I didn't like Let Me Go because of the mixing. The mixing, I could barely hear his vocals. It's very reverby and I can barely hear how he's trying to ride the beat. I feel like that beat was pretty much, it really was just a sample. It really wasn't that much going on with it, so I didn't really enjoy it as much because of that. I did like the concept, how the girl was whispering in his ear saying let me go. I love the concept because it goes back to kind of like that Edge of My Bed type of storyline where he's dealing with females, and it just didn't do enough for me to even enjoy it as much as I would like to, because I felt like it wasn't that much going on for me to even pay attention to the concept that I'm listening to. However, Tell Me, which is track number 10, I like Tell Me because it brings out this storytelling aspect. I like Tell Me because it brings out this this certain coldness of Elliot. Like, he's like, tell me, who the fuck would you kill for? I love the chorus, you know what I'm saying? I didn't like the beat too much because I feel like the beat was just too amateurish. It was a clean beat, but I didn't really like the drum sections and stuff. But it's still, those type of beats he rides over, you know what I'm saying? It's like, the beat had like this sample with these calm drums, and it wasn't really moving as much. But because of the chorus and the verses on this track, I enjoyed it because of that. Because it made the track full. But the chorus on this joint is definitely one of my favorites, alongside of I'll Always and Edge of My Bed. Because it goes back into just how he could turn that flow into a great body of a hook. You know what I mean? That's what it goes back to for me. But those 2 tracks in particular, I enjoy Tell Me better because Tell Me actually told me something. You know what I mean? I didn't really enjoy Let Me Go because it didn't really fit that well in the project for me. It was very ambient. The beat definitely wasn't out of his style, but it didn't do too much for me. That's why I enjoyed number 10 better, which is Tell Me. And one thing that I noticed about this project is how, as you look at the track list, it's going from light to dark. It's following the skits between the Baby Boy movie from the beginning to the end, from the climax to the very conclusion. It's going from light to dark, you know what I mean? Like, it's dark in the very beginning. There's no lightheartedness. It's very serious in the beginning. When you come to the very end of the track list, it gets so much more intuitive, so much more smoother, and it gets so much more lighthearted. Now, to wrap this project up, the last 3 tracks pretty much put the icing on the cake. Right after track 12, which is Contagious, you have this track called Peace, which includes this very smooth, smoky type of instrumental with a dope sample. Pretty much, he's speaking on behalf of just the peace that he's looking for, and he feels that he's close, you know what I'm saying? He feels that he's getting close to reaching that solace that he's been looking for this very long time as he grows and as he ages. Directly right after Peace, you have this skit called Grown Folks Conversation, and this is one of my favorite skits because this is another scene that I love from the Baby Boy movie. This was a scene where Jody, which is the main character, talking to his mother. They're discussing how they're on equal terms now and how he's doing a lot better for himself, and they're having a good time. So really it shows how Elliot is coming to terms with just him becoming a man. So pretty much what the skit was telling me is how Elliot is really coming to terms with him becoming the man that he's looking to be, starting to realize how far he has come. So the skit was perfectly placed to pretty much seal the deal. Now the last two tracks we have on this entire project is Paradise and then the Two-Edged Sword. Now Paradise is a very introspective track because he is talking about his parents, he's talking about his grandparents, and he's pretty much putting himself in his shoes in this track, saying pretty much explaining to the listener how they have so much faith in him and they don't want to see him cry no more. They want to see him succeed and they want to see him become a better man for the sake of himself and for the sake of his son. And I thought it was a dope concept because you start to see one of the reasons of why he was frustrated to begin with in the beginning of the entire mixtape, in the beginning of the entire album, I'm sorry. It starts to show you where the contrast comes in, you know what I'm saying? Like he went from frustrated to people to being grateful that he still got his parents, being grateful that he's still alive, and being grateful for his son. You know what I mean? It takes it back to that, to just him coming one with himself. But one of the things that I liked about this track the most, on top of the beat, which was a very jazzy and smoky instrumental and smooth vocals on top of it, was the concept of him just imagining paradise. So it kind of throws the listener off, like, because he's like, paradise, but it's only in my dreams. So you don't know if it's happening for him or if he's wishing it could happen to him. And that's where it kind of tricks you in this track because you don't know if he has paradise or if he found or if he found paradise for himself or if he's only imagining it in his dreams. Now, Two-Edged Sword, which is pretty much the final track of this entire project, definitely a perfect way to seal this entire project, because I feel like the track was just diving into Elliot's insight of life and how he's looking back onto everything that happened in the beginning of the project to the very end. He's looking at how all of that made him a better person. And pretty much in this track, he's pretty much telling you, don't stand against the test of time and don't settle for the vanity of things. Now the musicality of this thing is so dope. I love the instrumental. The instrumental is like this smooth, jazzy, very sampled, very smooth, jazzy type of instrumental. And this is where I feel like Elliot put a lot of his Texas cadence with that West Coast demeanor on this track because you could just feel it in the flow. It was like, and it went like, don't slick cut with that two-edged sword, you'll get two less more. It was just very smooth the way he did it. And I feel like these type of instrumentals can always compliment him because his very wide range of flows. Now, to pretty much wrap this review up, I just gotta say, man, this was definitely a solid project and I enjoy listening from top to bottom. The only thing I feel like Elliot needed to fix was just his emphasis on certain tracks. Some tracks you just don't need all of that emphasis. And the wild range of flows. I feel like sometimes him doing that offset flow that I talked about earlier can kind of make the track just seem unlistenable, even though he's on beat and on point, but it just makes it less interesting. You know what I mean? It makes it less interesting because there's really not that much that you can really get from it. You know what I mean? But other than that, the concept of this entire project was definitely dope. He has a dope beat selection. His beat selection is incredible. Some of the beats I don't like, but he still manages to make it listenable for me, even if the beat is okay. If I was to rate this mixtape, I definitely would give it an 8, because this definitely is a solid project that I feel like anybody will listen to. And if anybody wanted to figure out the concepts, they would have to listen to this a lot more than just twice or 3 times. You know what I mean? Because I'm still trying to put the pieces together myself. However, I'm starting to understand it. You know what I mean? So I like projects that make me think like this. Man, that's pretty much it, man. Thank y'all for watching this long review. I know this was long. I apologize for making this long, man, but I had to go in. You know what I'm saying? I gotta do what I gotta do. To link up with Elliot, man, I got all of his links in the description, man. Check him out, man. Link up with him on Twitter, SoundCloud, YouTube, Bandcamp, AudioMac, download, everything that he got, man. He has it all, man. Check him out. You won't be disappointed. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. That's pretty much it, man. Thank you for watching this review. Raeshad Beats out. Elliot, the prodigal son, forever. Peace.